Good morning, good day, and good evening. I'm, as always, your host, Brody Robertson, and today we are. I guess this is an early Sage podcast, but it's actually a one of the ones that we missed from AvCon last year, which was June, July, whatever, whenever it happens, a while ago.
Somewhere in
So, welcome, Aiden from Catalyst Games, the makers of the upcoming Dungeons and Dining Tables. How about you introduce yourself and just explain what the game is?
Sure. So, my name's Aiden. I'm the creative director for Catalyst Games. We are a small indie studio based here in Adelaide, South Australia. And we're working on our first kind of major original IP game, which is called Dungeons and Dining Tables. So it's a bit of a labor of love. It's a passion project for me and the team. And yeah, we've been working on it for about 2 years now, and we're getting really, really close to our demo release. So I'm very excited about that. That's why I've come to join you here today, I guess. So a little bit about Dungeons and Dining Tables. It's a cozy RPG. So you delve through dungeons to collect rare pieces of furniture, and then you take that furniture back to your house to decorate, and the cozier your house is, the higher your stats are. So all the furniture that you collect has these different sigils and different stats that are on the furniture, and as you place it in your house, you get those buffs on your character. So you can get things from like maximum health or extra speed or extra attack damage, as well as some cool abilities as well. So like temporary hearts and like bees that'll follow you around and all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, it's a cool little idea. It's super cutesy. It's a 3D game. Kind of gives you a bit of a Pokemon meets Zelda kind of vibe in the art style, but leans more into kind of like a Diablo 3 arcadey ARPG as well. So we've got some really cool elements. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, it's a cool idea.
How long's the game in work in progress for at this point?
So we work on this part time. So as a studio, trying to make sure we keep the lights on and everything like that. We do a couple of other things as well. So we've been working on it part time for about 2 years now. So it's really funny. Today is the official third birthday of the studio. So I started this company 3 years ago as of today. So yeah, really cool.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. How many people are working on the game?
So we go through a couple of different people. Usually it's somewhere between 10 to 12. I think we get as low as 8. And I think right now, as we're coming close to that demo, we've got like a core team of about 6 that are working on it just to get us across the line. We work with a lot of different contractors. So we have all sorts of artists and musicians and programmers and that sort of thing that come through. Yeah, the idea is just to kind of like help upskill more of the industry and share the wealth a bit when we can and that sort of thing too. So yeah, we try our best to give everyone an opportunity to work on it.
So you said there's a core team of 6. You said you're the creative director, yes?
Yep, that's right. Yep,
What
yep,
is
yep.
the skill set of the core team?
Yeah, so we have a technical director, which is a guy named Luke. Luke is our technical director. He's awesome, and he handles the majority of the programming tasks and the larger architecture systems. So that makes sure that the framework is built and the foundations are there for us to build a game. I do a lot of the design. So as the creative director, I'm the kind of vision holder for the project. So it was concepted by me. I do a lot of the design and the user experience side, and then we have Ty, who's our artist. He's our kind of art director, and he has a team of artists that he works with as well. We are very heavy on the art. We love a good looking game. So he is in charge of everything to do with our pipeline on the 3D art side. And then we have Hannah, who is our 2D artist. And she handles everything from the UI to like the marketing assets that we use for Steam, our big banners that we have, and all that beautiful 2D art. That's all Hannah. And then we also have Nathan, who is our composer. So he does all of our music and all of our sound effects and makes sure all the animals make cool noises and voice records all the characters and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like the core team. There's a few other people as well, but that's sort of the makeup of the whole thing.
So you have a pretty comprehensive full team, like core team then.
Oh yeah. And a lot of these guys have been working on this project for about 2 years now as well. I think technically our newest guy in that whole group of it is Luke, our technical director, and he's been here for almost a year now. So yeah, it's great when you can have a core group that's been on a project for a while because they kind of just get like the feel of it because they've seen it grow and develop. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen any of the old trailers, but it looked very different when we started to what it looks like now. So yeah, just having basically having a team that has worked on it for a long time, they can see where the improvements are and they know where they want the product to go. So yeah, that's been really fun.
Do you happen to know where I could find any of those old trailers?
Oh yeah, so if you just look up Dungeons and Dining Tables on YouTube, we have a game trailers trailer. If you look on that one, there's an old one which might come up first, might come up second now, and then we also have the new one which was on IGN recently as well. So yeah, you can kind of see the difference between the two trailers, which is really cool.
From a
you'll
year ago?
definitely be able to tell the different. Like a year ago, I think was the first one, maybe a bit
Okay, yeah, I
longer
think
than
I
that.
found it. Why is the video not playing? Thank you, YouTube. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so I can immediately what stands out to me is like, I guess lighting work. Like the core style is still there, but it's clearly that shader work hasn't been done at this point, and it feels a lot more flat, I guess.
Oh yeah. So a lot of that was at that point in time we did have a slightly larger team and we were all just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall to see what worked. Really trying to find the fun in what the game was. So there wasn't a huge focus on making it as pretty as we possibly could. But if you have a look at that compared to like the newest trailer, you can see that we've really updated the art and made it look a lot cleaner and a lot better. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing that immediately stood out to me when I played the game. Like every time I played the game, it clearly has a very cohesive style to it, and like whenever you see an indie game, it's very clear when you don't have a full team because a lot of people very specialize in like one thing. Like a lot of games have really technical systems or really great art, but most people don't have a skill set that covers everything.
Yeah, no, you can definitely thank Ty for that. Ty, as our art director, has been phenomenal. Just like following his direction on making all of that stuff happen. Another shout out I can make is to Tony, who's one of our concept artists. So Tony is the one that's designed all of the enemy types, done them all kind of up in 2D, and then Ty essentially makes them in 3D and rigs them up and animates them. So it's been a really cool process to see like everything from like furniture to enemies to whatever come to life from like a 2D drawing, a sketch initially, and then a colored one, and then off to Ty to turn it into 3D, and then you can see it all come together when the animations get all blocked out. So yeah, it's awesome working with a team of artists. I'm not an artist, so for me, I really love it because I'm like, wow, you guys are magicians, you know.
You know, I know the feeling. I like programming is my focus. So anytime I see like actually well done art design, like it's just impressive to me. I've done the donut tutorial for Blender. That's about as far as I've gotten with that.
Yeah, I think so I went through the like AIE school pipeline as a mature age student. So I think I started when I was 28. I went back to school and learn about game design. And one of the units in that was like how to 3D model. And I just remember that being like the hardest one. And I spent so long and I made this tiny little rope bridge that was like really low poly. It's like, you know, like sticks with planks. And I was really proud of that. And I'm hoping to put that asset somewhere in the game as a little ode to what we did originally and how it all started. So yeah, but yeah, art is definitely not my strong suit. I'll leave that to the professionals. So
So how did the project originally start? Like what was the inspiration for it?
Yeah, so the original inspiration kind of came around like COVID times. So I remember I was like stuck at home. I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and we were playing a lot of Diablo. And so what would end up happening is, you know, we'd play some Animal Crossing together, and we'd be like, oh yeah, this is good. We'll play some Diablo together. And we'd be playing Diablo and go, oh, I really wish I could decorate my house. And so we'd go back to Animal Crossing and go, oh, I really wish we could beat up some demons right now. And then we'd go back over to Diablo. And so So, we had a lot of fun doing that, and I had a lot of fun playing games like Stardew Valley, and I felt like those types of contrasts were really cool. I did feel like Stardew Valley didn't have the depth that I wanted in the combat system, and so I just thought, you know what, these are things that I love to do. I wonder what would happen if I smushed these two ideas together and turned it into a game. So yeah, that's kind of where it originated from. I have a huge passion for like randomization and replayability and that sort of stuff. Big fan of roguelikes and like Slay the Spire and those sorts of games as well. So for me, I was like, if I can do something where every single time I do a run is completely different and I get completely different rewards, and then I get to spec myself out based on that, I'm going to have a good time playing it. And if I have a good time playing it, hopefully someone else will also have a good time playing it. So yeah, that's pretty much how it all came to be. But even then, like right back in the day, like I didn't think that it would be the kind of quality that it is now and all that sort of stuff. It started off as a very small, like top-down game where we had some assets that I think I bought from like the asset store, like the Unity store, and there was like this kind of top-down, more Diablo-style thing where you ran around with a little sword. But then, yeah, once we brought artists onto the team, they really like pushed with that vision, and it really changed what that game looked like. We did all sorts of things. We changed the camera angles. We decided to make a more cinematic camera, and so like even the first prototype to where it is now are vastly different. But the underlying theme and the underlying game design is still there.
Yeah, whenever I look at how to say it? Whenever I look at a game where the focus is this mix of combat and then house design, I very much lean heavily on the combat side. I am the kind of person where I'm sure you've probably thought about people playing it like this, where the house is a means to an end, where the way that I would design the house effectively would be, how do I stat the best?
Absolutely. I'm really excited to see some builds like that. I just want a whole house just full of chairs, just chair house. I think it'd be really cool and really fun. But we have designed it in a way where it kind of balances a little bit. So I'm hoping that people will be able to make some really pretty houses and different aesthetics and different themes and still get all the stats that they want as well. But for those min-maxers like you and I think, yeah, fill the whole place with bookshelves, fill the whole place with legendary couches, all that sort of stuff. I think it's going to be good.
Especially the most important thing for me is if a game lets me not put a single point into health, I'm gonna put as little into health as possible. If I can just stat into damage as much as possible, that's usually what I'm gonna do. And then if I die in one hit, I just don't die.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Roll everywhere all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the idea of the system is that it kind of does let you plug and play what you want to do. So you've got like a heavy attack and a regular attack and a roll and all those sorts of things, potions and abilities, and depending on the types of furniture that you collect, those cooldowns could be reduced and those sorts of things. There's ideas in the future of things like being able to teleport around and all sorts of stuff. So, I don't know what that will look like in the final form, but yeah, I'm really excited to see how people decorate their houses and how it impacts their gameplay and, the things that they really lean into. We are pretty community first, so we have like a big Discord that we've built up. I think we're like maybe 300 or 400 people there now, which is really awesome for us. And so we have a bunch of really great people on there, and we love sharing ideas with them and hearing what they come up with and seeing what we can do to kind of add that into the game as well. Different kinds of characters and pets and cosmetics and those sorts of things as well. So yeah, it's all very community first. We want to make sure that what we build is something that people will love. So yeah, I think it's going to be cool though.
I do want to talk more about the house design side, but since we're on the topic of combat anyway, I don't know if things have changed since the last time I got to try it, but that was one of the areas where it did feel like it was kind of underdeveloped. Like for example, the first boss, you could, at least at the time, you could just whack it and out DPS it before it kills you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've done a lot of work on the boss. The boss has had such a like a bumpy road to development, to be honest. I think one of the first versions of the boss had this move where so for those who don't know, it's a big couch troll. So it's a big troll that's holding a couch as a club and it swings it around to try and hit you. And in the first iteration of that, it had this spinning move where it would spin around the whole area, like swinging this couch around. And for some reason, we could just never get it to stay on the ground, and it would just helicopter up into the air and disappear forever.
Right,
There were
right.
so many different like bugs and issues with it. And we changed it up a little bit. So now the iteration that we've got at the moment, and the kind of gameplay that you'll see is, yes, it will swing its couch around. You got to run up and hit it, but you also need to avoid it when it has a shield on, because you're not able to hit it. Then you'll ricochet off of it. So you need to use a heavy attack to break that shield. And then also, if you get too far away from him, he'll start looking at you and he'll charge right across the arena to come and get you as well. So there's a couple of different modes there, but I'm hoping people figure it out and they have some fun with it. The other thing that we do as well is during our convention builds, so when we go off and show it to everybody, we actually give you like a much cheaper version of the boss. So he's got like pretty much a quarter health of what he does in the game, and he's much easier to defeat, just because we want people to have a good time playing it. We don't want people to be like stuck on the boss for ages and miss out on parts of the story and that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that a little bit more balance on that. We should have like a really solid first boss fight. So yeah, really excited about that. Yeah, part of that ability system that we've been working on with the sigils for the furniture as well, is essentially how we're balancing all of that. So you've got your regular attack, you've got a heavy attack, you can roll around. You now have a potion that you can pop as well, which is really good. So, we have that kind of roguelike-y sort of gameplay while you're through the dungeons. And then as you add more furniture to your house, more abilities will pop up, which is pretty cool. So,
Right, because when I last played it, the furniture was just stats. So there's abilities now.
That's right, yeah. So we've added more to that stat system just to make it a little bit more rounded out. So for example, with the furniture, it comes in different rarities. So you've got common furniture and you've got uncommon furniture and rare and epic and legendary, and then some unique items as well. And a lot of the unique items will have unique abilities. So for example, the couch troll's couch, you can get that in the game and you can put it in your house. And when you do, you get some temporary hearts. So when you start the next level, you've got extra hearts, but only until those hearts are taken. So very, very similar to that kind of gameplay. Yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to add in there, but a lot of it is secret for now. I don't want to give too much away because some of it's really cool, and probably the one that I like the most, that we will see in the demo as well, hopefully, is the bees. So we have a furniture set that gives you a chance to spawn bees when you get hit, and they kind of work as like homing missiles, and they come in and hit and everything like that. So yeah, if you think about kind of like some of those abilities you'd find in like a Diablo style game, we're really leaning into that on the combat side to make it a lot more varied. We want to give it a lot of depth without making it too complicated. So yeah, it's all about the simplicity of it, and kind of the gateway into harder things. Yeah.
Regarding, like, I guess, combat design and game design there, with the uniques, is the intention for them to be just better furniture, or is it to enable sort of different kinds of playstyles?
Yeah, so the kind of main idea for that is to enable different play styles. So a lot of the unique stuff, the unique sigils that you'll get on some of these furniture, are kind of tied to the bosses that you'll fight. So as you go through the gameplay, each boss has its own legendary set of furniture. And so if you were to grind that boss a couple of times and fight a couple of different versions of it, you'll get different furniture drops within that set. And then we also have a crafting system that lets you kind of recycle and craft more of the things that you want as well.
Right.
I think kind of late game, there's an idea for being able to take those sigils off of one thing and put it onto another thing, so you can really mix and match what we want to do. But for now, for the demo, we wanted to go real low scope, make sure it's simple and easy, and we get the ideas across. And then, if everybody likes it, we'll keep adding more stuff to it. So yeah.
No, that definitely does sound cool. Yeah, all of that sounds like really like the furniture. Again, I'm looking at this from someone who is very combat focused. And I'm sure someone who's looking at it, like you were saying, from that like Animal Crossing sort of side would sort of be maybe more focused on like design and stuff. But I'm just thinking, especially with being able to sort of combine things together, I'm sure that's going to be a fun bug nightmare and balancing nightmare, because there's going to be combinations where you don't intend them to be as busted as you intend them to be.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's something that we've been talking about internally as a team as well. Is like, what happens if every piece of furniture gives you health?
Right.
Like, does that mean we just have 100 hearts across the screen, or is there a limit, or all of that sort of stuff? And realistically, I think a lot of the data for that's going to come from testing. So my hope is that, when we give out the demo and people can play it, we can get a lot of feedback and some analytics on, do people really need a bunch of health? Are the dungeons too easy or too hard, and all that sort of stuff. And because I come from that design background and I'm more focused on kind of like the wider picture of the game, a lot of that data is really helpful for me to help educate, the team on like what direction we should go and why we should go in that direction. A lot of it comes into play when we think about like what kinds of enemies people want to fight and how long a dungeon should be, and what kinds of things should happen in the dungeon. Whether it's all combat or if there's some narrative stuff or some puzzle stuff. And so we're gonna try a bunch of different ideas on that and just see what everybody thinks. If it comes out good, then awesome. That'd be great.
So, what enemy types? I don't know how far exists in the game, but at least in the demo, what enemy type is going to be there? Because I know though in like the con demos that I played, there was like the basic ants. You had like the spellcaster ants. There was the big heavy ants. I feel like, at least from what I played, those are the ones that are sticking out of my mind.
Yeah, so for the first area, which is the forest, it's called Lampshade Grove. So obviously we're going real into that furniture theme. So for Lampshade Grove, the main enemies that you'll find a small enemy which is called a chompy, and he is kind of like a mosquito type enemy. Basically, he just runs after you and gives you a big chomp. Very small fodder enemy. You can smack him away, and that's super fun to do as well. Then you have the termite variants. So we have a Tersquire, who is kind of like a small guy with a sword, and he has a couple of attacks. And then we have a Ter Ranger, which is like a bow and arrow guy that shoots arrows at you from afar. And when you get close to him, he runs away and all that sort of stuff. Then we have the Ter Tank, which is like kind of a more armored guy. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit slower, and you have to hit him with that heavy attack to get rid of his shield, and all of that. We also have the Ter Knight, which is a much bigger guy. You probably saw him in the demo as well. He's the one with lots of health and real crazy. Only spawns very rarely, but if he gets you, then yeah, you're gonna have a bit of trouble. And then on top of that, we also have I think we just call it the loot bug, but it's kind of like a treasure goblin type character. Right. And he's got a big sack, and you have to chase him around and knock him about. And if you do, you get a rare piece of furniture as well, which is pretty cool. So, those are kind of the main variants. I wonder if I've forgotten anything else. There's the caster as well. He shoots meteors of furniture down at you, which is cool. And then, of course, there's the boss. So you've got like the big couch troll that you'll fight at the end of the forest area. So yeah, that's the kind of the main squad for that area. And then we have a couple more areas coming. We've got a desert and some other stuff as well, and there'll be variants of those. I think we're making like a moth character as well, that'll fly around and shoot mothballs at you, and those sorts of things. So there's more coming, but for now, in the forest, you'll probably see those kinds of guys around.
I think one of the first things you're probably gonna work out with like larger play testing is any of those places where things kind of break in the dungeon. Because I remember in the demo, at the whatever the last one was, I remember someone managed to roll and clip on top of a rock.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, we've been playing around with physics a lot with that as well because the engine has its own physics system, but we also kind of added our own on top of it,
Mm-mm.
and that allows us to do things like when you hit an enemy, it goes flying really far backwards if you hit
Mm-mm.
him with a big attack and those sorts of things. It gives us a bit of knockback when we're attacking and all of that. But yeah, sometimes both of the systems don't interact with each other perfectly, and you end up like getting stuck in the same thing, and one goes on top and one goes on below, and I think that's just a part of game dev. At the end of the day, like there will be some kinks that need to get worked out. But I would encourage anyone that's playing the demo as well. Absolutely, send us a bug report. Let us know that that's happening, and that helps us kind of prioritize stuff in our massive list of tasks that we need to
Mm-mm.
do as well. So I think for the most part, though, people are here to have fun. So if it's fun and it doesn't break everything, then I don't know if we need to fix it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, if it puts you in a soft lock state, like sure,
Oh
like
yeah,
if you
yeah.
get
If it's
stuck
gonna
on
break the
terrain,
game,
or or there's like a required enemy that gets knocked into something and now you can't hit it.
yeah, yeah. So we'll definitely be fixing things like that. But yeah, I think there was at one time we had this ability where we had this like heavy attack
Mm.
where you swung this sword and there was this big fire trail that came after you. And there was something in the way that if you pressed two or three of the buttons at the same time, you could just launch yourself and it would just go this fire attack into this roll, into another attack, into a roll, and you could just like clear the whole map in like 2 seconds.
Uh-huh.
And so we patched that out, so that's pretty good. But yeah, there's like all sorts of little things like that that come up all of the time. So yeah, if you see them, definitely let us know.
I'm always the kind of person that when I play a demo, I try to break things. Like that's
Yeah,
usually my goal. Um, I
I think that's most of us, right? Like,
well, I don't know. I just kind of like seeing systems behave in a way that they're not supposed to. Like one of the things I always like to think about is there's a series called Ace, and in the eighth game, you can multi-bind different actions, which is always a recipe for disaster. Uh, but one thing you can do is if you put attack, roll, and character swap all on the same binding, roll slightly increases your height, and character swap resets your roll, and then attacks for some reason part of that as well. But if you just press the button, you just fly out of the map. And this is like a core speedrunning thing for that game. And it was
oh
never
wow.
intended by the devs. It was never patched either. But I love finding things in games like that.
Yeah, oh man, it's so crazy. And I think the thing that I love the most is just like watching people play it as well and
Mm.
just seeing like, oh wow, I definitely never thought about doing that at all. I
Mm.
don't know how they got out of that part of the map and
Mm.
all those sorts of things. So yeah, with the demo, it's still gonna be really early days. So, expect that there will be problems and all
Right.
those sorts of things. But we'll make sure that there's enough stuff in there so you can unstuck yourself, and if you hopefully you won't get too demotivated. Yes, no, but we'll work really hard to make sure that the gameplay is really solid.
Mm.
But yeah, if there are bugs or you find stuff like, yeah, show us, let us know. We got a big Discord, like show us all the things that went wrong and all the things that went right as
Mm.
well. I want to know like all of the cool, rare, like random furniture that people get and
Mm.
how they decorate their houses and what color their axolotl is and what outfits they want to wear and those sorts of things too. So yeah, all of that stuff is super important to us as a small team. It
Mm.
really helps kind of guide us in the direction that we should be going. So yeah.
So the goal in the dungeon is to collect resources, collect furniture. When you're outside the dungeon, what is going on there?
Oh yeah, so you have kind of like this hub town, which is called Kindle Rest, and basically you've got the town and all the townspeople that are involved around.
Mm.
And in the first part of the story, you kind of wake up in this town and you don't know who you are and you don't know where you are, and there's kind of a bit of a fact-finding mission to figure out what's going on and how to get back to wherever you were before. All of the characters in the game are quite cute as well, but they all have a bit of a wholesome storyline that they lean into as the game goes on. I don't want to give too many spoilers or anything like that,
Understandable.
but Yeah, but basically, each one of the characters is dealing with its own kind of insecurity, and it's your job to help them kind of come to terms with that insecurity. You're not necessarily there to fix everybody's problems, but just to help people kind of manage, what they're dealing with. And basically, you start in the town, and the town's in a pretty strong disrepair. There's only a few people there, and as the game progresses, you bring more people into your town. So, yeah, you get to understand all these different stories and meet all these different characters, and yeah, they all have different systems that they interact with. One of my favorite things about this is that obviously you can decorate your house, but you can also decorate all the houses of the townspeople as well. So, if you level up their houses and fill their house with comfy furniture, then it'll interact with the kind of quality of life of that system a bit more. So, Alder, who's the carpenter for the town, he does all of the crafting menu stuff, and so as you upgrade his house, you get access to more better crafting recipes and better quality and being able to change colors of fabrics and those sorts of things as well. So that's all focused around him. Obviously, your house is what impacts your stats, and there's some base stats on there as well. And then, yeah, the other thing is that you decorate the town a little bit. So there's these little areas that you can pump resources into, and when you pump those resources in, Outer will come and build like a notice board and a potion stand and a little market square and those sorts of things as well. So yeah, the idea is that we kind of have this experience where you're building this town up, and then you run off into the dungeons to go and collect all the stuff, and then you come back and continue to upgrade and improve your town and hang out with all your cool townspeople. So yeah.
So in obviously a completely different vibe, but in many ways similar to what you do in Hades, right? You go through the dungeon, you get resources, you meet the gods, you come back, and then you use the resources to build up the underworld. Basically, same
Much,
idea.
yeah. It's a very like stock standard roguelike light kind of experience where I think Rogue Legacy does it really well like that as well, where you do the run and you come back with the resources and you upgrade the kind of castle and find new heroes and all that sort of stuff. And those are some of the games that I really love playing as well. So I just wanted to add elements of all the stuff that I find really fun and what the team finds really fun as well as not all me, like what the team loves to, and put it all into one thing and see how well it works. So yeah.
But rather than just say doing an upgrade, in this case, you actually have a lot more control over how you actually want to lay out your home and lay out the other homes.
Yeah, so I'm really big on personalization. I think that something I really love about games is being able to just like personalize your character as much as you want. So change your colors, change your outfits, change what weapons you use. And obviously with this one, we're decorating a house, so you get to decorate the house the way that you'd like. And then you get bored of decorating your house, or you're happy with decorating your house. So we have, options to decorate other people's houses too. So that's sort of what that was all planned around. But yeah, I would really love to see, what colors people pick and what outfits are the favorites and all those sorts of things. So we're going to lean very heavily into that, customization.
Oh,
yeah.
We good? You're back? Everything's good?
Oh dear.
Can you hear me? No.
Ooh.
Hello. Hello?
Looks like you're back.
Sure, okay. I hate Discord
I think
so much.
maybe a slight disconnect or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Where did I'm not sure if you kept going there. What you'd said.
Ooh, where did we get up to?
We're talking
what
about
was the last thing you had?
house design. You design houses for everyone else. When you get bored of designing your own house. Yeah, basically that's pretty much where we were.
Yeah, pretty much. So like the core of it is like just being able to personalize your character,
yes,
right?
yes,
Like
yes.
I'm big on personalization, and so being able to change your outfits and your swords and your color. We also have pets, we have wings, we have trails. So I'm really keen to see what are the favorites in that. Who uses what particle effects and who uses what costumes and all that. So we're going to lean very heavily into the customization. So if that's your kind of game, then this game's probably for you.
That's cool. I this does raise the question of game scope. Game scope. Like,
Mm.
this can be that entire system by itself could be a game by itself, and the dungeon side could be a game by itself. So, how big do you want the game to be? How do you make sure that you actually have a game to eventually release? Like, what
Yeah, I mean,
criteria is here?
you're right, 100%. It is a little bit ambitious as a first project, but we've got a really solid team that we work with on this. And while this is our first independent project, we also do some work for hire stuff as well. So we do release projects with other partners and those sorts of things too. It is, yes, it's definitely an ambitious scope. I'll completely agree with you on that. But we have done what we can to de-scope it and remove a lot of the excess baggage that's on the sides as well. One of the ways that we've done that is just by simplifying a lot of systems. So rather than having, like, for example, we used to have it that when you got a piece of furniture, it could have a plethora of different stats on it, and it would have like 1 to 3 different stats on it, and all of those would have a range of different numbers. And we've completely done away with all that in lieu of just like a single icon essentially. So the depending on the type of furniture that you get more icons or more sigils, I should say. But it's kind of like a 1-for-1 now rather than this whole big overarching system. That just helps a lot with the balancing and that sort of thing. The other thing is that we know that our target market could be a bit of a younger audience as well, because it is quite a cutesy looking game. And so we want something that's simple enough that pretty much anyone can pick it up and play it. We're really focused on accessibility as well. So while it does feel like there's a lot going on, a lot of it is very simple. Well, not very simple, but, simple enough that people can play it and still have fun.
Right, right. So I guess maybe it's a hard question to answer. Like, how much game do you want there to be?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's two kind of worlds for this one. There's sort of like the world where, we make the game and there's only a few people that want to play it. And then, we've finished it and we start working on the next game, right? But then there's also a world where this is like a really great project and there's a big audience for it, and we build a giant community around it. And at that stage it's kind of like, well, what does the audience want to see? Because if you guys want to see more stuff, then we'll organize to do that as well. One of the benefits of being an indie studio is the fact that we're independent, right? We can decide, you know what, I will spend a couple extra months doing this thing, or maybe I won't spend a couple of months. I can see a future where we have a bunch of like seasonal content like Diablo does, with new dungeons and new enemies and new furniture sets. I can see a world that, we add a whole bunch of cosmetics that come in and special challenges that you can do. But all of that is post-release content.
Sure.
So all of that's like, we've done the core game, we have the core story, and then after the core story is finished, if there's an audience for the game, yeah, we'll do more stuff to make it cool for everybody. But yeah, that's probably the most like professional answer that I can give about that. As far as the current scope goes, we're feeling pretty confident that this thing is going to come out relatively soon. I'm not going to give any dates or anything like that, but yeah, we're really hopeful that we'll see it out soon enough.
Well, maybe an easier to answer question then. What is the scope for the demo?
Great, yeah. So the scope for the demo it's pretty close to what you guys have probably seen at conventions. So there's a couple more cutscenes and a couple more little extras and some polish on that as well. But effectively, it's the first half of the first act of the game.
Okay.
So it's about a 30-ish minute demo if you just play through the full content. But if you want to repeat dungeons and things like that, it can go out a little bit more. Maybe if you're a speedrunner, you can do it in 10 minutes or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. So it's not like a heavy demo that'll take hours and hours to play, but I'm hoping it'll give everybody just enough of a taste of what the idea is, that you can go, oh yeah, this is something I'm into, or you can say, no, I'm not into it, and I'll take it off my wish list.
Right.
So yeah.
So as you mentioned, you can like build a notice board and other things like to add into your town. So I assume that as you progress through the game, there's going to be some sort of expansion of the mechanics. It sounds like you wouldn't have access to the abilities right from the very start.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we've kind of built it in this way that like each story that you go through with each of the individual characters unlocks a different aspect of the game a bit more. So to start with, Alda is the guy that your story kind of revolves around, and you learn a lot about the crafting. He's the one that gives you the heavy attack, and that's in the form of this kind of big spectral hammer that you use to kind of bonk things, which is super fun. But yeah, his whole situation is he's a carpenter, so you know you get a big hammer attack, and that lets you break down resources and that sort of thing, and then you can use those resources to craft with him and all of that. And that kind of builds out that system. But then you've also got Percy, who's in the town as well, and he's the local tailor, so he does everything to do with the cosmetics and all of that. But he's also kind of the pseudo like head of the town. And then there's some characters that you meet later on. Harmon, who's a big snake, and he is kind of a musician character, and you know he teaches you stuff about magic and stuff about the stars and that sort of thing. And then there's some characters you meet along the way as well, and that just opens up different areas of the game for deeper systems. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's hard to talk about it without giving too much away. But yeah, it's you have to play it. It's a cool experience, and yeah, I think people will like the story. I hope that they vibe with it, and yeah, and I think the gameplay will be simple enough that you can get into it, but deep enough that you won't get bored.
You mentioned the heavy attack there. I remember the last time I played it, the heavy attack was very awkward because I think it was just you lean back with the stick, but there was no real indication of how far it was actually gonna hit.
Oh yeah. So I think when if that was something that you played relatively recently, it was yeah really prototypey. So you know that's a big thing about being an indie dev is that a
Mm,
lot of what we're testing is really just like throw spaghetti at the wall, you know. And if it works, great, we'll keep it in. If it doesn't, then we move on. And there's a lot of testing and a lot of changing, and because there's such a huge amount of change and iteration that happens as well, it's also really hard to talk about because you don't want to say,
right,
"Oh,
right.
we're gonna have this great idea." You know, we're making multiplayer, and then everyone goes, "Oh, it's multiplayer." Please don't clip that. We're not making multiplayer. It's not. We're a tiny team. But yeah, you know, like it's hard to talk about some of those things because they might not make it in,
Right,
you know,
right.
and some of the largest systems as well might have to be scrapped and those sorts of things. But that's just in the process of what development is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the heavy attack was something that we tested out. I think maybe the last two conventions we went to, and it seemed like people loved the idea of the heavy attack, but that it needed a lot more of a clearer telegraph, and
Right, right.
it needed to make more sense that it was like a big area that you're able to hit. And we've also made that clear in the kind of design language around like what you can hit with that attack as well. So yeah, so now you can see there's kind of like an orange tint around things that are shielded, and you can use that heavy attack to destroy the shielded things. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's like a bit of design language in there, and a little bit more of a polished idea. And you know, as we continue to test and we continue to get feedback, those things will get bigger and better, and yeah, hopefully turn out so it's almost like you never even knew there was a problem in the first place. So yeah.
I think it's what I like about seeing. As I said, I like breaking games, so I kind of like seeing that process of games being built, and it's really fun to see a game, you know, at one con and then see it sort of progress over the years, and it like doesn't matter what game it is, just a project that keeps going, you get to see like it actually really improving, learning from those issues that were brought up at the last con, improving upon the systems, maybe having new different problems, but those old issues now are clearly they've clearly thought through the issue, maybe even if the users don't necessarily know how you'd best solve it, because that's a problem. A lot of people are good at identifying a problem. They're not good at identifying the solution, though. So it's
Oh
very
yeah.
easy to say, oh, the heavy attack, it's unclear, but you could probably get 10 or 15 different ways to make it clearer. But you kind of have to decide on what is going to actually be the best because different people are going to have different sort of intentions and ways they want to, I guess, demonstrate that ability.
Oh, 100%. And that's why we love doing the conventions, because you can get so much feedback, and it's actually crazy how much feedback you can get just by watching someone play rather than
Mm.
hearing any of the, oh, you guys should add this or you should do this or
Right, right.
where's the jump button, all of those things. Just seeing how people play and how they experience the game, and when they come up to a challenge or a pathway, what direction do they take? And does everybody take that direction? And if they do, why is everyone taking that direction? And that's kind of leans more into that design stuff, and the reason that I'm kind of here. So I really love it, and it's a big thing for me to make sure that I go to all of those conventions as much as I can as well. So usually, if we're demoing the game, you'll probably see me at the booth, or I'll be kind of around watching, or like sneaking a look from the back while other people are explaining what the game is. Because I love being there. I love meeting everybody. But more importantly, I also like to see how people play the game and how they engage with it, and whether they're having a good time. Like if people are having fun with it, then we've done our job. So yeah, that's really big for us.
And it's not necessarily always about what people are doing. In some cases, what they're not doing also is really important as well. If people aren't interacting with the system, why aren't they interacting with the system? Is there some problem with sort of showing it to the user? Is the system not as necessary as we thought it was? And there's some issue there that you can completely circumvent it. So seeing, like, let's say, for example, let's say you have the shield and you have the heavy attack. If nobody is using the heavy attack, but they're still
Mm.
managing to beat these enemies, clearly there's some sort of problem there. Or maybe if people are just avoiding these enemies, are you showing the user that the heavy attack actually deals with this in the correct way?
That's exactly what it is, and as the developers, we know everything about the back end of it as well. So I can tell you where every bug is and every problem is. And as soon as somebody runs into one of those things, I can write that down and go, yes, that was exactly what I thought was going to happen. Or I can go, I have no idea how that happened, and I don't know why they're where they are, but we got to see them do it again. And that happens a lot. And obviously going to conventions, we get a lot of different types of people that come past, a lot of different ages as well.
Mhm.
And we've had some people who are like, we've had some people that are in their 20s and 30s that really struggle with the game, and then we've had people that are 5 or 6 years old that like just smash through the whole thing. So it is really hard to find a balance in that as well. And yeah, our aim is just to make things intuitive as much as possible, so that as apart from making a big giant yellow box in the direction that you need to go, right, or a big giant arrow,
Right, right.
just trying to lead the player through the game so that they have the best experience they can, right? So
Mhm.
that's sort of where it comes from the design side. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, one of the things that did stand out to me is when you first wake up into the town, you kind of feel lost. And I know that's kind of the intention initially, but at least the last time I played it, I did kind of feel like I wasn't sure entirely where to go.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. We had a lot of feedback like that. So we had a lot of people that when you wake up, I think a big part of it is that you're facing the wrong way,
oh,
and then there's not really a clear direction of where you're supposed to go and those sorts of things. And so what we did is we made a couple of changes and we tried it again, and we noticed that after we did a couple of things, people found their way a lot faster and all those sorts of things. So
mhm,
now I think for the last time that we played it, we might not have had this in, but now you've got a little butterfly that you can follow.
mm.
So there's a little ping button, and that'll tell you your mission's in that direction. Go
Oh,
over there.
okay, okay.
So that's really helpful. We've also made it that you're facing the location of the first checkpoint, so that way you can see where it is. And as you go to explore the town, you can kind of follow the butterfly or follow the question marks.
Mhm, mhm,
So yeah, so there's a bit of that we've involved as well. But then we've also added a little bit more exploration in the town itself. So one of the things that we didn't really have in the original demo there is like the packages. We didn't have furniture around the town, so there
mm,
wasn't really any point in exploring all that much. But now I think we've got like 6 or 7 hidden packages all around the town, and they unlock at different points and when you have different abilities. But for the most part, you can kind of see them and go, oh, how do I get over there? Well, maybe if I go
mm.
around. So yeah, so we've really tried to like tease the player a little bit and engage them in exploring the town and exploring the areas. And then that's hopefully going to flow into our dungeon generation as well. So there'll be areas that you can get to when you have different abilities unlocked. And, the easiest way to show that off is we have certain areas at the moment where there's these big rocks in the way of doorways. And once you get that hammer attack, you can break those big rocks down, and then you can access, more dungeon to explore and all that sort of stuff. So, things like that is going to be the real core of the gameplay when we get to that kind of full content release. But for now, we're hoping that everybody has a good time. And if there's anything that breaks, they let us know. And if there's anything they love, they let us know. And just keep on that indie journey, keep on grinding, right? So yeah.
I always do appreciate that Metroidvania-esque kind of thing where it's like, hey, there is a thing there, you can see it, but you don't have the thing to get to that thing yet. It's a ledge that's too high, it's a block that's in the way that you need to break, it's some sort of locked door. And sometimes games don't do the best job at blocking those things off. If you give me a double jump and a dash, I'm going to find a way to get there, even if I shouldn't. But
Yeah.
like, it is nice to have a reason to return to locations you've been to before. Now that you've unlocked some additional thing that you weren't able to do before.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the total plan for the game as well. As you unlock more abilities, more things will open in all the dungeons, and it might make you go, oh, you know what? I really want to go back into the forest and see if I can, unlock the portal that takes me to the wherever, or the, all those sorts of things. So, I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a real fun time.
So what has that con experience been like?
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a part of the process, like at the end of the day, it's all just part of what we're learning. And as a young team as well, a lot of this stuff is like we figure it out as we go. But yeah, it's that's just the way that it goes, right?
What is the, I guess, reception to the game been like?
I mean, it's been pretty good for us so far. My biggest goal was I wanted to hit 7,000 wish lists with this game before we launched. That was my really big goal. And very recently we had one of our trailers go up with IGN, which was really awesome. And I think we're seeing just over 9,000 wish lists now. So
Wow.
I'm really happy about that. That's something that we've been really excited about. I think I might actually get a cake for the team that says like over 9,000 on it or something like that.
Oh, that
we
just
can
went
do-
up recently? Like very recently?
yeah, really, really recently. The IGN trailer went up, I think, like a week ago or something like
Yeah,
that.
okay,
Maybe
yeah, I found it.
last
Okay.
week. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, yeah. It's really cool because we've been working on it for such a long time. So it's great to see other people are interested in it too. I think we had someone share a video on Twitter as well that did, I don't know, 40,000 views or something like that, which, we're not a viral game, we're just a little mob down here. So, to have anybody recognize what we're doing and love it is amazing stuff. So, it's been really cool. And yeah, I'm hoping that momentum continues to build when the demo comes out. So, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that does happen. Like, I think there is a good core game here, but having that wider audience actually trying it out, because cons are not the best place to like demo stuff, right? Especially sound and like music. There you cannot at a con. I have no idea what I'm sure the music's great. I have no idea what it sounds like. I've never heard it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the the big problem with cons as well is that it's a very loud environment. It's great to get some early feedback and it's great to get lots of people around. One of the big things for us as well as a small studio, we can use it to get our brand out. We have merch as well that we sell at conventions too. So we have little tote bags and stickers and keychains, and we have desk mats now as well. These beautiful desk mats with the LED lights around them and the whole thing. Everyone at our studio has one on their desk as well. So yeah, so we like to be able to kind of show that off. And when I see someone walking around with like a Dungeons and Dining Tables tote bag, like that's a big win. That's the promo that we want for everyone. So yeah, so it's things like that is really great about conventions. And people that come and support us, especially as a small studio as well, is just awesome. It's just so cool. But you're right, they don't get the full experience. They can't sit there in their own homes with their own you know oh, I think there's a car going past or something very loud. Sorry, yeah, a motorbike just went past. But yeah, you can't sit there in your own house, so you have to be very polite when you're at a convention. Not that everyone is, but for the most part, everybody's there. Very polite. I'll take 5 minutes to play this. I'll move on to the next thing. But when you're at home, you can sit through all the cutscenes. You can see the story. You can listen. You can play at your own speed. And that's my hope for this demo is that when everyone gets to play it, they play it at their own speed, and hopefully it's paced well enough that they have a good time. Yeah.
Right, you bring up the good point there about the time to play the game. Avcon's gotten like a lot bigger over the years, and
Oh yeah.
there's some games that there's just always sort of people around, and you like it's hard to really, especially for a game where you might actually want to sort of get engrossed in it. It's kind of hard to really try it out there. Like if it's like a indie fighting game, for example, one round you can try out the game. If it's like a little puzzle game, you do like 3 or 4 puzzles, you kind of get the idea. But this is more of like, it's a bit of a longer experience where you do a dungeon run, you design the house, and you do another run. So it's kind of hard to really get a proper experience of the game there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we are one of those games that ends up getting a bit of a line sometimes, and so yeah, it can be hard. I think one of the things that we've done recently to help with that is we got 2 computers now, so we
That
got 2
helps.
laptops that people can play, side by side, which has been really good. But yeah, it is one of those games where yeah, you do want to sit down and have a bit of a play. And like I said, the demo is about 30 minutes long, so when we take that to a convention, it's hard to get people to have a real proper experience with it. We do have a convention build that's slightly shorter, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think in our convention build as well, we have it that all the enemies drop health, so every time you
I
play
did
through, you're always getting health.
I
So
did
you
notice
you
that.
don't. Yeah, yeah. So that won't be in the demo. But yeah, just things that like once you're able to play it on your own, I'm hoping that you'll have a bit of a clearer experience of it. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're joining the Steam Next Fest in February.
Yes.
So that's I think is the 23rd of February. So I think I'm allowed to say that now. I'm not 100% sure if it's been announced, but yeah,
Steam
I'm
Next
sure
Fest
it's fine.
2026. I can check, but again, no, it's been announced. Okay, no,
I'm
you're good.
sure it's
You're good. You're good.
I'm good. I'm good. That's good to know. So yeah, so we're part of the Steam Next Fest, which is going to be really exciting. And then we're also launching our Kickstarter at the same time. So I'm hoping the Kickstarter will give us a bit more of a boost to say, oh yeah, we're really into this idea, and we're hoping to do some cool rewards with that too, cosmetics and digital stuff, but also some physical stuff. So yeah, I think that'll be really fun.
What are you hoping to do with the Kickstarter?
So we do want to try and get a little bit of extra funding, but it's not really the purpose. So with the Kickstarter for us, the core purpose is kind of like a marketing hype. So the idea is that if we have a bunch of backers that really want us to build this game out, that'll really help us identify where our market is and how big our market is. Because at the end of the day, you can have a lot of people say, "Yeah, I'll totally get this game when it comes out," but unless people start like actually buying it, you never really know. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like my mum will buy like 10 copies. You know what I mean? So like I don't know if it's all that. So for me, it's a really big green flag if it goes well, because it says, yes, you guys are on the right track. This is the thing that we want. But my focus for it is I really wanted to make sure when we put the Kickstarter out that there is a demo that people can play. So that way you can give it a go. You can see if it's your vibe and it's
Mhm,
what you
mhm.
want. And if it is, then yeah, you can consider backing the Kickstarter. The idea for us is that as a small team, it does help us with cash flow.
Mhm.
Our team is quite lucky that we have a really nice office space that we have, and we have some workshops that we run that bring a little bit of income in for us. And, we've been fortunate enough to partner with Screen Australia for we were a recipient of one of their grants
Mhm.
a year or so ago, which really helped us put things in perspective of what it was that we were building. So we've been, very fortunate to have a bit of help along the way. So this is kind of like that final step where it's like, okay, if this goes well, then we're essentially ready for what the content needs to be built out for launch. Otherwise, if it doesn't work out, that's cool too. We'll probably still continue working on it. Just might be a little slower. Yeah.
It's always nice to see a Kickstarter for something that is not like a theoretical game. There's actually a
Oh,
game.
yeah, well, because I back Kickstarters all the time. So, the amount of games that I've been like, oh, I cannot wait for this thing to come out. And then 7 years later, it's disappeared. And
Yeah.
so I know the horror stories as well, and so my big thing is like give them something, so we can all look at it and go, okay, this is kind of what it's probably going to be, but more content.
Right, right.
And so our aim is to make sure that some of those systems are like really robust and really polished, so it's really clear what the gameplay is, and then it just becomes a whole content thing where it's like, okay, well now we want the desert, now we want the cave, now we want the whatever, so yeah, if I can make that all come together, I'll be really happy about it.
So you said the Kickstarter's there more as like a way to gauge interest. Do you have any plans to, a lot of projects where they will have the Kickstarter, it's like, oh, if we hit so and so goal, we'll add additional content of various form. Is that part of it with this Kickstarter, or is it just purely for gauging interest?
Oh, definitely, definitely. There will be different reward tiers, stretch goals, the whole thing. I have a meeting to plan it out like next week. So
Right, right. I did notice that
I've
none of
got
that stuff's like on the page yet.
yeah, yeah. So we'll do exactly what most Kickstarters do. We'll do the stretch goals and the ideas. I tell you what, if I'll say it right here on this podcast. If we make $1 million from the Kickstarter, I'll buy an axolotl. I'll buy one and I'll put it in the office, and we'll all have to take care of it. But no, I don't imagine that's going to happen. But yeah, we'll put some really fun Kickstarter stuff in there. And my big aim is that I really want to give this out to as many people as we can. So,
Right, right.
we'll probably do like a pre-order price that's kind of like a cheaper version of what the game will be. And, obviously we'll have a Steam key and that sort of thing. But, we might have some console stuff. I'm not going to confirm or deny any of that stuff, but we'll see what it looks like when it all comes out. I'm very excited about it. Hannah, obviously, as our 2D artist, is going to really help with making those assets and making it really pretty for us. So yeah. One of the things I'm working on at the moment is we're trying to figure out how we can make some plushies. So I think that'll be really cool if we can do that. So,
Hmm,
but
hmm.
again, don't quote me on it because it's all up in the air, and we're trying to do 100 things, and you know
Right,
how it
right.
goes. So, but that would be a cool idea, I think. So,
I always
yeah.
like merch. Merch is always nice to see.
Oh, I'm such a big fan of merch. And we have so many different like axolotl, toys and things all around the office. And every single time we have someone visit, they bring an axolotl. So the whole thing is just filled with plushies. But it'd be really cool to have our own, I reckon. So yeah.
Now, obviously, you can't really confirm anything there, but you did mention there was some interest in console, at least. The console's obviously like a whole different beast from PC because then you got to deal with SDKs and all this extra stuff.
Absolutely. We kind of designed this game as a console first game, and when you come and play it at a convention, most of the time there's a controller. Usually, it's an Xbox controller. So we are very mindful of that, and we have built this with that in mind. But being a small team, we don't know. Like at the end of the day, if I'm going to be real honest with you, I have no idea if it's going to work on Switch or PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. So, as much as I'd love to say, yeah, absolutely, it's going to be on all the things. We'll do our best to aim for that, but. It's going to come down to funding, and it's going to come down to how much content's in there, and and whether we can do it or not. So, yeah, mindful and hopeful, with fingers and toes crossed.
I don't know anyone ever would play a game like this with keyboard and mouse, but is that all working just fine as well?
Oh yeah, works totally
Okay.
fine. Absolutely. I prefer controller. I
I
have a
do as
controller
well.
plugged in all the time, but
Yeah.
yeah, but you can absolutely keyboard and mouse. Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah, you can keyboard and mouse. It's all good. And also in the settings, you'll be able to change all your button hotkeys and key binds. So the core of that is we want as much accessibility as possible. So whatever is the preferred format of how you play, we want to make sure that you're able to.
Does that include rebinds on the controller?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
There's so many games that just decide to leave that out. It's so annoying. I hate it.
I think it's like everyone goes, "Oh, it's going to be a really hard job," and I'm like, "Yeah, but like it's a hard job, but it's a job that's worth doing."
Yeah,
So
but like,
yeah,
especially like, it's one thing if you don't have rebinds, but if you built the rebind system for keyboard, it's the same system. It's just
yeah,
different key
that's true.
names.
That's true. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's not my job. That's Luke's job, so he can deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be upset about that as soon as I let him know it's his job. No, very cool.
No, like it's just one of those pet peeves I have. Like most of the time, I'm fine with whatever, as long as the game's not doing like weird, obscure bindings. It's usually fine out of the box, but it does annoy me when that's not an option there, because especially for the accessibility case, there are people that make use of these like specific kinds of controllers where they might only have one working hand, for example, or maybe proper movement in one hand and then like partial movement in the other, and being able to like
Oh,
fully rebind like that is basically a requirement to even play a game.
completely, and that's something that we're really focused on. Like I said before, we're really community first. And we've had a lot of developers that we've worked with that have had different kinds of abilities and disabilities and all those sorts of things. My cousin, for example, he tests our game a lot. He's actually come on to help us with some level design as well. He's colorblind, so we got to make sure the colors are right and that there's different color settings for him as well. So we're really focused on that. We just want to make sure that everyone gets the best experience that they can. So yeah, we're doing our best on that. And again, feedback on that's going to be really, really important as we build it out, and hopefully let more and more of the community play it and test it and all those sorts of things.
That's cool as well. Yeah, like that's colorblind. That's another one that's often just like left out entirely. Like nowadays, you do have the like in the NVIDIA settings panel. There's like a colorblind filter thing, so it's not as big of a deal nowadays. So like, it's not a crazy big deal if a game doesn't have it, but it's always nice to see it. It's nice to see that like the extra little touch was put there.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have that little bit of attention to detail.
Mm.
We're a very like 1% more kind of studio as well. We want to make sure that everything has been thought out, and everything deserves attention. And I think that we owe it to ourselves to make sure that this comes out in a really positive state.
Mhm.
Obviously we want to hit our deadlines and everything like that as well, but we also want to make sure that it's a good experience when it comes out. All of our team is like that, and everybody has these small little obsessions with different parts of the game. Like a couple of them is like Hannah put together this really cool furniture symbol language that you can find throughout the game, and you can read like sentences and ideas and text that if you can cipher the symbols. And Nathan as well, because he does all the music, he's made it so like depending on the theme that's playing, the birds will tweet a bit of a harmony to the theme and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's just those 1% extra things that really pull it into a really high quality space. And all those obsessions are what kind of like push us forward. So yeah, I'm really into it, and obviously I have my own obsessions, which I'm not going to talk to you about, but definitely replayability, definitely randomization, and how that whole system works. So yeah, a lot of effort has been put into those. A lot of love has been put into those systems, and I'm just hoping it comes through in the demo.
something I always like to ask people is what is the sort of guiding principle for the game, that like North Star that you focus the game on?
Oh man, the North Star. So obviously there's like the core gameplay loop, right? Like there's the dungeon to decoration to dungeon to decoration. But if I were to talk a little bit more, I don't know, a bit deeper about like the North Star of what this game is and what it means and why it's here, it's a connector, right? So the idea of this game is that it's built in a way that it reminds us of when we used to play games like Crash Bandicoot and
Hmm.
Spyro the Dragon and Jack and Daxter and all the stuff we used to play as a kid that maybe you played with a parent or a friend and, a single player experience, but you shared the controller and those sorts of things as well. And the idea for this is I want to create an experience that's simple enough that my kids, when I have kids, could play something like this and go, you know what? That was the game that brought me into gaming.
Right.
And so I really want this experience to be something where people go, I play it for the nostalgia and I show my kids the game because it fits their vibe as well. And now we play Diablo together. And now we play the other stuff together because we started in something that was simple and easy and it connected us together. Yeah, it's a really big focus on connection and a really big focus on like the wholesomeness of the of helping all the townspeople and building a community together. So yeah, to get a bit deep and philosophical on you, that's why we're building this. That's what this is, and I hope that rings true.
Mhm. Sort of a bit of a side tangent there. Do you remember what the first game you ever played was?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I have my first game and also my favorite game is a is a game called King's Bounty, which came out on the DOS system. The old King's Bounty. They've made a couple of things like onwards. But if you look up King's Bounty DOS, you'll see, okay, right, 16 by 16 pixel sprites. Everything's a very yucky green color. This was a game that my dad taught me about, and I just remember having the little booklet, and the booklet had a map of like all of the different islands that you could go to. Essentially, as a bit of a before, I don't want to go on a huge tangent about this because I will. But like to give it a bit of context, you play as a knight who has been hired by the king to find his magical scepter that has been stolen by a dragon,
Mhm.
which I think is the coolest storyline ever. But essentially, you kind of traverse around the world and you find these bounties, and you need to go and essentially be a bounty hunter to take out these villains that are in these different castles. And when you take out a villain, you get another puzzle piece to try and figure out where this scepter has been hidden somewhere in the 3 or 4 islands that the game has. I really just loved the game. I loved being able to connect with my dad on it. My dad and I played it a bunch, and every time you play it, like all the spells move to different towns, so you have to find out the towns. All the villains move to different towns, so you have a little checklist in the back of the book where you can go, this villain's in this castle, and the fireball spell's in this town, and so you know where to go to get all of the stuff you need to fight the next guy. And it just had like a really like livable world, which was so crazy for the DOS era, to have a game that felt like it was alive regardless of whether you were there.
Mm.
And that's kind of been my inspiration for getting into games in the first place. That and board games. I absolutely love board games, but that's my first game and also my favorite game.
My first game is not my favorite game. It was Spyro Into the Dragonfly, which is
Oh,
a bit
okay.
of a rough Spyro game.
Bit
But
of a rough one. But the original Spyro games, great games. Love
oh
them.
yeah, I played those a
Absolutely.
bit later, and yeah, they're fantastic. If
Mm.
anyone hasn't played it, go play the Toys for Bob remake. They're great.
Oh,
Or play the
100%.
PS1 games. Whatever works. They're both great.
Yes. If you learn nothing else from this podcast, please go and play Spyro.
Yep, yep, yep. So right now, what are the areas you feel like sort of need the most polish in the game? Like what?
Hmm.
Yeah, like what is still kind of underdeveloped that you would really like to see expanded?
I mean, like the easy answer is all of it, right? Like at the end of the day, where we can be a little bit of a perfectionist group. So
Mhm.
there's so many things that we're like, oh, it's good, but it's not quite.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
I think for a lot of what our systems are, we've tried really hard to test a bunch of things, and in doing that, it means that we have a lot of what's called technical debt. So technical debt is basically there's a lot of code there, and some of it's a little bit tangled. So once we're finished with getting this demo out, our next big step is tackling a lot of that debt and kind of paying that down. So cleaning up some of those systems and the back end to make it a little bit more modular, and making sure that there's not a system plugged into a system into a system into a system, and everything can kind of still work, but is a little bit less full on and connected. But that's just the nature of the beast, really. But that's probably like the biggest thing I can think of from that standpoint. The other thing is just more content. I just want to get more content in. I want more levels and more ideas and more puzzles and more chunks that you can play in and more furniture and the whole thing. So it's just about getting more and more and more stuff.
Right.
And once those systems are fundamentally built properly, then yeah, all it is content. So it's just about like, where do we want to go with this now?
You said more and more and more stuff, and this goes back to what I talked about earlier with like game scope. There comes a
Yes.
point where you're like, how much stuff do we want to have, and when do we actually want to get this released?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the plan for me is that we have a pretty solid scope for what the release is going to look like,
Mm,
and then based off of I guess the reception from that release, we'll be able to make a decision on what other stuff we want to add. Like maybe we call IKEA and we say, you guys like furniture, we like furniture. Maybe we do an IKEA style level. I don't know, like who knows how long's a piece of string, but yeah, like the thing is that we're building this because it's something that we're passionate about. It doesn't have to hit a particular like revenue target or a
right,
number
right.
or whatever. Obviously, we have likes, we have things, we have dreams and things we would like it to do. And we have invested, quite a bit of time and money and effort in making this thing happen.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, that's never really been the focus for us. It's always been about making something that's really awesome. And so if there's an audience there and they want more content, then it's likely we'll build more content for it, as long as it makes sense.
So, are you able to talk when you want the game out, or is that still something that's far enough away to really answer?
I think it's far enough away to really answer. That being said, I think for what the schedule probably looks like is based on the demo. If everybody loves that and it's not too broken, then yeah, it makes sense that we'd probably get closer to a release earlier.
Mhm.
It's likely that what our schedule looks like at this stage, being independent, being on our own, we're probably looking at some kind of early access, and that early access will have more content than the demo for sure, but it'll probably not be the full finished version. And then we can kind of use that and the sales from that and the audience growth to help us make better decisions on what the end of that game looks like. So
Right, right.
at the moment, we kind of have a 3-act story. The demo will be the first half of the first act, whereas the early access will likely be the first act and the second act, and then the third act would be in the full release. And then that's kind of how we would build the storyline. There'll be some post game content at the end where the release is as well. But you never know what the future looks like. We could have this great conversation, and then tomorrow, Riot decides that they really love us and they've just heard about us and we're amazing and they want to give us $100 million, and now it's a 7-year cycle and it's a multiplayer game, and then it gets shelved, and then we become Hightail, right?
I was
But
gonna,
no,
I
sorry,
was
that's
gonna
a
say, where are
cliche.
we going
My
with
bad.
this?
My bad. But like you never know what's going to happen, and I think that's part of the fun of what it is that we're building. You never
Mhm.
know where we're going to be. We never know where we're going to be. And so, yeah, it's just about like making sure we're ticking all the right boxes and everything looks green and ready to go. And yeah, I'm pretty confident in it at the moment. It does look very green. It looks very ready to go. And, we're pretty good at communicating that as well. So we're real transparent about our dates and what we can say and what we can't say. And yeah, we'll keep everybody updated for sure.
Mhm. What would you be thinking for like the post game end game content? Is that just
Oh,
more
I'm
of the
so excited.
dungeon? Like, would it just, even if it's not things that necessarily going to be in the game, do you have like ideas that you'd like to try out?
Oh, absolutely. I have so many ideas for what I want for end game content. One of the cool things that we've been contemplating is the idea of cursed furniture. So
Okay.
things that give you like really big OP buffs, but also give you a kind of downside as well. We love the idea of a kind of shadow world where you can go through a bunch of versions of the dungeons that are a little bit harder with different bosses and those sorts of things. I love the idea of a boss rush. I love the idea of like something similar to like the Diablo Rifts, where you kind of go through on a timer and then you fight a big boss at the end. My big thing for this is I want more and more content, like I said, more and more and more. But I think if we build the framework in a really positive way and make it really replayable, then people are going to enjoy it way after the story's finished. So yeah, we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, I don't want to give away too much of the story either because
Sure.
it's going to be a really fun story, and I don't want to give too many spoilers. But yeah, you'll get to meet some cool characters, and they impact the world in different ways, and then you're going to have to go and sort that out. So yeah.
Yeah, harder version of the dungeons just like kind of makes sense. I think of like, you can also approach it with systems like how, again, going back to Hades, where you can add optional challenges onto the dungeons as well. So it's like, oh, there's a time limit. Oh, the enemies have more health, or have a shield, or other things like that.
Absolutely. And that's like all in the plan. We kind of already have a bit of a system like that for some of the randomization in the dungeon. So something you probably wouldn't have seen because I don't know if we implemented it properly at the last demo day. But we have like an empowered enemy type, which is
Hmm.
essentially just an enemy with a couple of extra cool abilities and stats on it. And so the dungeons will be peppered with those depending on the difficulty as well. And then the difficulty also impacts like how many floors of the dungeon there are and all sorts of things like that. So the idea is that we'll have a bunch of different options and a bunch of different ideas. One thing that I'd really love to do, I have no idea if I could even do it, is just like an endless dungeon where it's just you go floor to floor to floor and like I don't know, every 5 or 10 floors is a boss, and then you just keep going, and everything just scales harder and harder and harder until you just are dead. you
Right.
know, so I think that could be really fun, but I have no idea how we'll implement that. So yeah, maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. But potentially post-release, right? Like at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff might come out, as we get closer to the end. So the other thing is like we are building it with like modding support in mind as well. So being one of those games that is really focused on personalization and customization and having your own furniture and all those sorts of things, we'd really love to just help the community as much as we can to allow them to build stuff too. So a lot of our code is kind of built in a way where if you wanted to extend on it, you probably could. And what we're going to do is maybe make a couple of our own little mods when we get closer to release, just to see how it works and test it all out. And then, they may not be core to the game, but they might be something we release on the side as a bit of here's something fun that we made where, you can do all of this extra stuff. So, yeah, there's little things like that we're thinking about too.
Okay. Okay. That does sound cool as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't want to build the whole game. Someone else can, you know?
Yeah. That's true. Oh. So, what has the development journey been like? So, starting from that idea to now, having a core team of 6 people working on it. How did you get here?
Oh wow, there. I don't know how much time you got because that's. I don't know if I have enough time to talk about all of those things. But it's about as good as anything. At the end of the day, there's lots of peaks and lots of valleys. It is absolutely a roller coaster trying to build a business, especially in the creative space.
Hmm.
Obviously, like Dungeons and Dining Tables is the game that we're working on now. But when we started the studio, like that wasn't even a concept yet. There was a different project we were working on. It was going to be a hexagon turn-based, like civilization type
Okay.
thing where you've got robots and all sorts of stuff. And we ended up shelving that project because it was way too big scope and it wasn't as like the team didn't like it as much as they like
Right,
this
right,
one,
right.
and all those sorts of things. And maybe that'll have its time in the sun. I have no idea. But we went through a lot of different iterations. We've worked with a lot of different contractors, and we've had people come in and out of the business, as you can imagine. On top of that, we've been really successful as well. We've had lots of awards that we've won. We've won a couple of awards, one for the most impactful studio in South Australia. So as part of our business and our ethos and the values that we have. We work with a lot of kids. We do a lot of workshops, which we run through a bunch of local councils, schools, and libraries. We also have a co-working space here in town as well. So we share that co-working space with a bunch of other creatives. And recently I've started a program which is called Catalyst Launchpad, which is a games incubator that helps game studios to kind of flourish a little bit more and springboard them up into the realm of game business. So we've been really fortunate to have some strong partners on those sort of types of things, and it does mean that there's a lot going on, right? But it's all really fun stuff. So we've had a lot of successes, and it's just one of those things, right? Like as you build your business, anyone that's built a business before understands, it's putting out fires constantly, but you wouldn't want to do anything else. So yeah, yeah.
No, all that sounds that the what? Jesus Christ. Some days I just can't speak. No, all that sounds cool. Like, if you want to tell more of that, like, story of how the studio kind of got started, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the studio started a couple years ago. So effectively 3 years ago as of today. Today's the birthday of the studio, which is really crazy. And it started because a couple years before that, so yesterday, in 2020, I lost my granddad. So, we were going through COVID. Everything was really hectic. He didn't pass away from COVID. He had Legionnaire's disease. Basically, he had inhaled some fertilizer while he was out gardening, which was the thing that he really loved to do. And it was just a real shock, crazy. Everything kind of went all of a sudden. And at the time, I was in a very different place. So I was running another company. I started a telemarketing company. I worked in sales and marketing and finance.
I'm sure that was
And I was
very fun.
essentially oh yeah. So I essentially got to a point where I completely burnt out. And I didn't want to do any of that stuff anymore. And I just wanted to do something that helped me reconnect with him. And so when I was growing up, we used to make board games together. He taught me everything about board games. We played chess, we played backgammon and card games and poker and all sorts of stuff. And I really just wanted something that I could do to connect with him. And so when I was kind of getting out of my spiral of closing my business down and COVID and all of those things, I applied for a couple of jobs. I looked to be like a dealer at a casino, and I looked into like how much it would cost to make a board game, and all sorts of different stuff. And then I found an ad for AIE, which is the Academy of Interactive Entertainment. It's a games and VFX school. They have offices pretty much everywhere, but here in South Australia, there's one here in town, and I applied for it. And at the time, one of the things I was doing as a bit of a passion project is I was making Minecraft mods. So it was something I was really into. There were data packs, but
Right.
basically a vanilla kind of mod. And I made this one particular mod, which was called Asphodel Meadows, which is all based on Greek mythology. And it did pretty well, and like a big YouTuber played it and all those sorts of things. And I had a Discord community and everything, and I was really pumped making that stuff, and it was fun, and I had a good time, and I met cool people. And so I put all that in my portfolio for my intro into game dev. And I said, I don't have any formal training and I've never been on this path before, but, I really like Minecraft and this is what I've been doing. And they basically said, yeah, that's good enough. Join the course. So I joined the course. And I met some amazing people there. Most of them are like in my studio. Have worked with us. And then yeah, I went through the design pipeline there, and I learned everything about game design and the psychology of games and the history of games and all those sorts of things. And I really just pushed myself to immerse myself in video games.
Mhm.
And so I had always known that I was going to start a business. I love starting businesses. I like working for myself. One of the other things about me is I have autism. And so, as someone with autism, I really reject the status quo quite a lot. And I do find it really difficult to work in a 9 to 5 job, as most neurodivergent people probably can relate to. And so, for me, I decided I wanted to start a business. And so, in my third year at AIE, which was the graduate diploma, I started Catalyst Games, and I started it with a friend of mine. He came on as our kind of pseudo co-founder. He's since then moved on to do work in esports and all sorts of cool stuff that he's doing. But ultimately, I started this studio as a bit of a connector to my granddad and a connector to all the things that I find joy in. And so that's sort of been the motivator the whole time. And because of that, like, I can't sleep. I don't eat properly. I just work all the time, and I just have such a fire for what it is that we do, and what the company is becoming. So, yeah, as a kind of indie studio and as a creative studio, Dungeons and Dining Tables has been our core passion that the team love to work on. But we've been really fortunate to work on some other cool stuff. We just released an app in partnership with a company called Imagination, which is the Disney Game Night app, which goes along as a companion to a board game that they have. It's all Disney branded, which is such a cool thing to work on. But yeah, we do things like that. We teach kids about games. All our content is very family friendly. It's all educational kind of stuff. A lot of our work for hire is educational. So yeah, like, all of it kind of comes back to that same value set and that same thing that we've been doing for a long time. So I know that's probably a really long-winded answer as to why, how it all started and why we're all here. But I can't think of anything better to do. I think this is the best thing for me. I think it's the best thing for my life, and I love supporting my team and allowing them to have all these cool opportunities to go and show their game off at all of these cool different events. And we've been traveling all around Australia, and we went to Bali last year for Unreal Fest, which was really cool. And hopefully there's some more international travel this year. And we just keep going, keep going. And yeah, I'm really loving it. And and it will just keep building and making sure this is the best that it can be. So yeah, I don't know if you want to get super into that, but there you go. That's the story for you. So
No, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. That was great.
Oh, good.
As I said to other people who have had on the show before, it's always nice to see someone who is really passionate about what they're involved in.
Mm.
Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, you have to be,
Mhm.
right? At the end of the day, like, why else would we do all of this work? Especially like for free, and like living on noodles and all that sort of stuff. There are parts of this that are really really tough, and I think if you're not passionate about it, there's so many other things you can do and not be passionate about, and probably have a better time. So yeah, it definitely is a labor of love. Just not just from me, but my whole team is a massive labor of love. Everybody's here because they really want to see this thing succeed, and I'm doing absolutely everything I can to make sure that they get recognized for that. So yeah, that's the core focus. That's always going to be the focus, and yeah, hopefully we win.
Well, with the game being at 9,000 wishlist before Steam Next Fest, like, you're already off to a really good start. Obviously, those aren't all gonna convert into sales. That's never how. But like, having that as a baseline already, that already indicates that there is interest in the game. Now having a
Absolutely.
demo out for the game for like a wider audience, it's only you'll see what's gonna happen next month, I guess.
Well, that's right. We can only hope and pray. I'm not big on counting my chickens before they hatch.
Sure.
So, but realistically, if one person wish lists us from that, that is good enough for me. I'm very excited that there's one more person that loves what we do. So, yeah, 9,000 is an amazing number. I'm super excited about that. I'm so happy for the team as well, because all of that is just recognition that they are doing the right things. We are going in the right direction. So, it's everything from the art to the music to the code to everything. Every person that has touched this product, that has touched this game, everyone should deserve a pat on the back for that. So, yeah, I think it's amazing. And, if it gets bigger and better, then that's even more amazing. I never thought that we would even be where we are. So I'm really happy that I get to do this with all of my time.
Maybe some plans are going to change throughout the year, but what do you currently have locked in as cons you're going to?
Oh, okay. Locked in. There's a few that are coming up. So the main one is, well, actually, the first one that's coming up is on the 31st of January. So we're at the Fairy Fauna Fair. Oh, 3Fs, say that 5 times fast, which is an artist market that's at the Woodville Town Hall. It's a smaller market, but that's exactly where we want to live. We are very focused on supporting South Australia and supporting other indie games and other artists as well. So we'll be out in full force there. Then in the beginning of February, we are at Sage, which is the SA Games Expo. So we're actually a sponsor of Sage this year. So we get to put our little logo on their website and all those sorts of things. We'll have 2 booths, one for the game, so people can come past and play, and the other one is to talk more about our games workshops and some esports stuff that we're going to be doing in a partnership, which I'm really excited about. And then the next one I think is the Games Expo, which is in Melbourne, and I think that's at the beginning of March. Apart from that, nothing else is really locked in. I think there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot that we would love to go to.
Right.
I think a big thing this year will likely be probably PAX again this year. I think if we can do it, definitely GCAP, which is the big developer conference. But if we can go to PAX in Melbourne for Melbourne International Games Week, we'd love to be there for that. And I'm just going to watch that to make sure we don't end up on the wait list again this year. And then last year we went to Pixel Expo in Perth, and that was really fun. So it's likely that we'll do Pixel Expo as well. Yeah, so all of those were really fun. The only one I'd really like to go to that I haven't been to yet is the Queensland Game Festival. Apparently that just went off last year. It was a big event and lots of people, and I'd love to be part of that. And then with our esports partner, we might be showcasing our game at a couple of other little things. Something in Queensland and something in Sydney and some other stuff all around. So I'm really excited to just show it off to more people as much as I can. But yeah, that's the stuff that's locked in and the stuff I can talk about. So yeah, that's good.
Is there possibility of AvCon again this year, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that was just not one of the ones you mentioned.
Yeah. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. AvCon,
understandable. You listed out
Supernova,
like 10 different things.
Yeah, yeah. I think AvCon's in April, so it's likely we'll do that one in April.
I think June? No, it's June, isn't it?
Might be June.
July.
June.
Yeah.
July. Oh, who knows? Who knows? There's so many things going on.
Yeah.
I get pretty fried when it comes to calendar events. As
yeah.
you can tell, it's a long time for us to pin down this
July 4th.
this
there
meeting.
it is.
Yeah. And I do appreciate you spending the time talking to me as well, because I know it's been a bit of a back and forth to get us here. So yeah, really appreciate your time on that.
No, it's totally fine. I enjoyed the game every time I got a chance to play it, and I just I like talking to people that are doing the cool stuff. I like bringing on, especially like SA game devs, because as I said, maybe it was before we started recording, I feel like a lot of people just don't really get the recognition that their games kind of deserve. Like, obviously, you have, whenever you think of South Australian games, the first thing that comes to mind is Hollow Knight, right? But there's other games that are made here that are not Hollow Knight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's really hard to be, an outlier when that is the outlier for South Australia.
Right.
But I think the thing is, like, as a community, we're all really friendly and we're all really lovely to each other, which is good. It's quite a tight-knit community, and that includes the Hollow Knight guys as well. As much as they're, I guess big and fancy and all those awesome things, they do still come to different events and play the games and everything like that. And I think that's awesome. I love getting advice from those guys. So yeah, like it's awesome to see that even at that stage there's still community and there's still building and having fun and playing games as well. So I'm hoping that you know if we ever make it to any kind of status, even 1% of that, that doesn't change us. We can continue to do cool, fun stuff. So yeah.
So you said earlier that you had like a game that had already been shelved. Do you have some ideas for things you would like to maybe explore after this game that you haven't really done anything with yet?
Oh yeah, I have so many things. Like one of the big ones I'd really love to do is when I was studying at AIE, we got to make a bunch of game prototypes.
Hmm.
I really loved just making cool little 4-week projects. I thought that was really fun. And I think once I have some time, which will likely never happen, but when I do have some time, I'd really love to revisit some of those ideas and be like, this is what this looks like 5 years after the original version of this, and just see if there's any improvement, any improvement at all. I think that could be a really fun little thing to do. I'm really into chess, so I'd love to do some kind of like chess game. I'd love to do something with like chess pieces and beautiful lighting and like make it kind of dark and mysterious and like a cool kind of like chess inscription type thing. I think would be really fun. So that's always a cool idea. Obviously, Dungeons and Dining Tables too, 100%. I think that the team would really love to do that. The other thing is I'm really big on like strategy stuff and turn-based stuff. I think as I get kind of a little bit older, I lean more towards strategy and less towards real time. And then I decided, what, let's make a real time game. That was a silly idea. So yeah, maybe something in like a turn-based genre or like an RPG in that space. I love the stats and I love the numbers and the randomization and fighting different monsters and getting XP and doing all that stuff. So maybe there's like a spin-off game that's Dungeons and Dining Tables, the turn-based version, or something like that. I think could be really fun. Apart from that, I don't have any other huge ideas. It'll just be this for a while. One of the big things about this IP is that I really love the IP. I think the brand is really good. I think it stands for a lot of really positivity. And if we're going to put merch together, I'd really love one day to make a board game for Dungeons and Dining Tables. I think that would just like tick everything off on my list of things that I want to do in life. So yeah, maybe there's a Dungeons and Dining Tables, the board game in there somewhere as well. Yeah.
Nothing confirmed, just possible
Absolutely
ideas in
no,
the future.
no Dungeons and Dining Tables board game, yet. But yeah,
So, I guess we've pretty much hit on like most things in the game. Is there anything that you feel like we probably should touch on?
I mean, like, I think we pretty much covered everything. Like, yeah, I'm happy with everything that we talked about there. I mean, like the big thing is I just really want people to play it.
Right,
Give
right.
it a go. See if you like it. If you're into it, awesome. If you're not into it, then I don't know, play something else. Go play Hades or something, right? But yeah, I don't imagine it's going to be the perfect game for everybody, but I am hoping that it's going to be a fun game for some people. So yeah, that's the core for me. Obviously, if you want to support us, the best way that you can is through our Kickstarter that'll be going up. Absolutely play the game. Absolutely wishlist the game. That's the like free thing that you can do that really helps us out is wishlist and share and all those sorts of things. And interact with the community. We have like a fan art channel where people post pictures of axolotls, and we have a pets channel and those sorts of things on the Discord. Anytime someone makes some art, we print it out and we put it up on the wall. We have a big wall that's just full of fan art. So yeah, just interact with us and we'll keep making cool stuff.
and you don't need much of a computer to play the game. As long as it has a processor, you're pretty much good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like actually, there's a really funny anecdote for you as
Mm-mm-mm.
well. When we started the studio, we bought a bunch of like basically computers that were going to like the bin from
Mm-mm-mm.
AIE. So it was like the worst, oldest kind of school computers that you can imagine, and we still develop on those. And some of them blue screen, and some of them are okay. And we wanted it to be something where if you're going to play this, you should be allowed to, regardless of what your tech is.
Right, right.
So yeah, that's also helps on the console side, right? So yeah, yeah, you should be able to play it. Fingers crossed.
That is definitely nice to see, because you like actually keeping in mind that not everyone has fast hardware. Like, you might make a game that has a relatively like low poly art style, things like that, but if you don't actually test it on slower hardware, it might look like it should run, but you might have done something in the background where you're checking something every frame that shouldn't be done, where modern hardware kind of hides that. Actually having it on real old hardware that you know it's working on is always nice to see.
Yes, that's the reason that we have old machines, not because we are a poor indie studio. It's because we
Well,
want to
look,
test. Yes,
two birds, one stone.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, on that note, if there's nothing else you want to touch on, I guess we can sort of wrap up there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think I think it went pretty well,
I think so as well. Yeah.
personally. Yeah, is there anything else that you need from me? Do you have like an ending thing that you do or anything like that at
We kind of
all?
already mentioned like the Kickstarter and stuff, but I guess just as like a thing altogether, where can people support the game? Where can people find the game? Yeah.
Yeah, great. So, yeah, the places that you can find the game and support the game is you can find us on Steam, Dungeons and Dining Tables. If you Google that, you'll be able to find us. Just scroll past all of the Dungeons and Dragons tables that you can buy, and you'll be able to find us there. We have a website now, which is catalystgames.com.au. We have everything about what we do as a studio there as well, including our impact initiatives and those things. And of course, if you can, please back our Kickstarter. Obviously, the Kickstarter is something that's going to help us continue to fund the game and let us know that there is people out there that are into this sort of thing. So, yeah, the Kickstarter, wishlist the game on Steam, and interact with us on social media. I will make sure that I reply to every comment that I see come up. So, yes, please do that.
Okay. And if you happen to be at any of these cons throughout the year, play the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. Come play the game. Come say hello. We've got axolotls. It's great.
I will probably be. I'll definitely be at Sage. I'll definitely be at Avcon. Look, maybe I'll show up at other places. Who knows? But I will. I will definitely be running around the indie spaces at both of these places. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you then.
I will have more business cards to hand out to people.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
that's
to be fair, it's still the same stack of. I got too many printed last year, so it's still the same stack from last year. But you know,
that's
it is
good
what
though.
it is.
Yeah, we still don't have we don't have business cards. I got to get some business cards actually. So yeah,
You can just
that's
get them printed at Officeworks. It's just
yeah.
well, you just go and design something. Mine's this. It's pretty simple, but like, you know.
Yeah, I think mine will likely be like the logo or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Logo, contact information, name. That's pretty much it. That's all you need.
Pretty much, right? That should be good enough.
So, nothing else you want to mention? No other links?
No, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, the website, the Discord, and no, did we say the Discord?
Oh, you
Yeah,
didn't
we
say
did
the Discord. Did you say Discord?
Oh, we mentioned it a couple
There's
of
the
times.
Discord. It's on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam. There's a Discord. Hang out with us.
Wishlist the game. Check it out. When's the demo out? When Steam?
23rd of February.
23rd.
So that is when the Steam Next Fest is. Yeah.
Okay. If there's nothing else to mention, I'll do my outro and we'll sign off.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So my main channel is Brody Robertson. I do Linux videos there 6-ish days a week. Sometimes I also stream there. Check that out. I've got the gaming channel, Brody on Games. I'll still be finishing off Hollow Knight Silk Song, so check that out. and also DMC Devil May Cry. And if you're watching the video version of this, you can find the audio version on basically every podcast platform. Search Tech Over Tea. There is also an RSS feed if you like those. And if you want to find the video, it is on YouTube, Tech Over Tea. Also, Spotify has video if you like Spotify video for some reason. I'll give you the final word. How do you want to sign us off?
Have fun, play video games, support local indies. That's everything you should do with your life. That's from me.
Fair enough.
Awesome. Thank you, Brody.
Absolute pleasure.